What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about Batman issue number 125. This is the start of the Chip Zdarsky, Jorge Jimenez Batman run. As you can see right in the top right corner there, it says, "A new era begins." Now, a lot of people are probably really excited and anticipating what Zdarsky is going to do. He's obviously a very talented writer, and then, of course, adding Jorge Jimenez to the book is always a plus. He's one of my favorite comic book artists at DC. I like his style more akin. I like it fitting more Super Sons than I do Batman. I still think the Batman art is really good, but I think with the more anime-esque style, I think it works for something a little bit more brightly colored. But with that said, the artwork in here, of course, is also very good. So let's go ahead and quickly summarize the plot of this thing. Basically, this time around, this is Bruce kind of trying to figure out what his next step is going to be. Obviously, it's probably like before the events of Dark Crisis and all that's going on right now. It's kind of tough to dictate where everything is in the DC Comics timeline, given everything else that's going around. But basically, he's been dreaming about things. He's been dreaming about Alfred. He's been having nightmares about the Joker killing the people he cares about. He's trying to get a hold of Selina just to check in on her, but she's busy hooking up with his Valmont character, which I guess is going on in the pages of Catwoman. I kind of dropped that book a few months ago, so I got to play some catch up on it if I want to know more of that story, but they do kind of reference that. And there you go. There's the artwork there. So if you want a little shot of Selina there you go. But basically another thing that happens is somebody that Bruce knows ended up getting killed by some people who were working for the Penguin. The Penguin, we come to find out, is actually dying of mercury poisoning. And in fact, big spoilers here, the Penguin does die in this issue, which was something that kind of caught me a bit off guard. It's not something I was necessarily expecting to see happen, but I was going to think it would be a ruse, but given the backup and everything else associated with that, no, the Penguin is dead. He bites down in a cyanide capsule, and good night. So, yes, the Penguin's going off. He has his little secret plan going on here. He's going to try and kill off. Well, I mean, it's not really secret. He's like videotaping it. As you can see, Batman's watching it in his little mini Batcave that he's got within the city. I do kind of miss Bruce at the Batcave and at Wayne Manor and all that stuff. Like, if you're somebody who hasn't been reading Batman for a while and you kind of jump on this thing, you're like, where's the Batcave? Where's Alfred and all that? It feels like that's been missing for a long time. I'll give them credit, though. At least with Alfred's death, they've at least stuck with it, and it doesn't feel cheap at this point because Alfred's been gone for such a long time at this point. But I do kind of miss Bruce being in the Batcave. I don't know why you can't just have him at Wayne Manor anymore. It just feels like a big part of Batman's mythos is just kind of missing. But anyways, Tim even kind of acknowledges that Bruce has been kind of a little off lately. He's kind of just been fully Batman, never really getting a chance to be Bruce Wayne. So with Penguin on the loose and all this other stuff going on, Bruce decides to go to this gala, which is at the Flugelheim Gala, which is a nice nod to Batman 89, because if you see Batman 89, the museum is the Flugelheim Museum. So somebody who loves the Tim Burton Batman movies, I definitely got a kick out of that. Also, the Penguin is modeled clearly after Danny DeVito. So Bruce is off doing his thing. Tim is there, and Bruce is like, you know, Tim's a good Robin, good guy. He seems to be kind of having the dual identity thing kind of figured out right now, whereas I'm just kind of a little bit lost in space these days. It just feels like it's endless loop of like just chaos nonstop. Batman's tired. It's like, can I be happy and all that? Which are questions that have been asked with Batman before, but it feels like he's kind of going through another kind of downspout a little bit right now. He kind of wants love. He kind of wants all these other things. He wants to balance both aspects of his life. And like I said, this is stuff they've explored before, but this is something Zdarsky's taking a crack at. And so I like that aspect of it, and I like seeing Tim involved in here. I also like this kind of cool moment where Bruce kind of has the Batman cowl and belt, and he's kind of like in a suit pants, and he's got that on. Like, I think that's a pretty cool image. So Penguin goes in there. He's going to gas the whole thing, which Tim and Bruce kind of already figured he'd do something like that. But the big twist here is it's not Batman, it's Clayface, and Bruce basically kind of threatens him, like, you better fix this shit right now, Clayface, or I'm going to blow you sky high. So that was kind of cool. But then Tim ends up getting shot in the crosshairs, and after the whole Rick Grayson fiasco, we don't want to see anybody get amnesia like this. Also, I'm betting Tim probably regrets sticking around as Robin after taking a bullet right to the neck. So Tim is pretty much on the cusp of dying, and I like how it kind of flashes back to what happened with Jason and Bruce is just like, I'm not going to lose somebody again like I did Jason. Tim still has a chance. So Tim took a bullet to the throat, like it slit an artery, and he has to go get medical attention, and we're kind of left ambiguous as to his fate. Granted, Tim has an upcoming solo book coming out, so I would assume he's going to be perfectly fine. But for a first start of a Zdarsky issue, I mean, that's there's always some kind of big hook or something big kind of in bold going on with it. And then we come to see the Penguin. This is his death here. Like I said, he's modeled clearly right after the Danny DeVito take right here. He takes a cyanide thing, so that way, like as his last kind of laugh, which is something I wouldn't expect Penguin to do, he's trying to frame Batman for his murder, so he can be like, okay, now we're going to go after Batman. Granted, Batman has been framed for murder in the comics before, but for some reason this triggers something called Failsafe, which is like a robotic Batman that I guess is going to enact when Batman kind of goes rogue. So yeah, Batman's going to have to go toe-to-toe with like this robot cyborg Batman that's going to probably go after him because he supposedly killed someone. You'd think this would have gone off before, but like I said, maybe he built this thing post-Alfred or something. I don't exactly know. But yeah, like I said, that's the end of the main story. And then the backup storyline, it's focused on Selina Kyle. It's also written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Belén Ortega. Like, her artwork is really, really good here. I think like both artists on this book actually did quite a good job kind of capturing that Gotham City look, and like all the character designs and everything. We're all really on point here. And I like the way Selina is written in this thing. I think it's pretty good. I think they got a really good grasp on her. Like, I think Zdarsky's good at like the whole like street level aspect to the character. So Selina's written quite well in this thing, like a lot more interesting than I was in like what was going on in her current solo book. At least when I was reading it a few months ago. I haven't kept up with it, but I wasn't too huge on it. But basically, we have this character that comes in as the executor who is there to read the will of Oswald Cobblepot, and there's been kind of this gang war going on with the Iceberg Lounge and everything, and basically the executor is like, look, in 7 days I got to read this will, and then after that, that's it. So everything that'll happen, if you're going to take over this territory or exchange things and stuff like that, you can do that right afterwards. So there's going to be a bit of a gang war, and Selina's kind of like keeping an eye on things, and she kind of goes off to go back to her apartment, kind of reminiscing about what's going on here and thinking about the whole situation when the executor comes up to her. Like I said, he's this android robot type character, and with the executor, his whole thing is like he can't go beyond his programming, so he needs Selina Kyle to go out and find the people who are part of Penguin's will, and those are his children. So she's getting paid $500,000 for it, and she's getting to have a little bit of like a thrill, fun, kind of go on out and type mission with the whole thing. So yeah, like I said, the Catwoman stuff I liked in this issue. It's interesting to see that she's now like seeing somebody else, and you can see kind of the sadness in Bruce. It's like, well, I guess I gotta go find somebody else. And you know what? Like I said, I've in several other videos in the past, if you've been watching my channel, I'm totally 100% fine with that. I'm fine with Batman going off to find somebody else that isn't Catwoman. I wasn't a huge fan of that relationship in Rebirth. I've been a fan of it before in other mediums and stuff in the past, but I grew to kind of dislike it when Tom King started writing it, to the point where I'm like, I don't want to see these two together anymore. So the way it's handled here, I'm like, okay, good. Selina can go off and find somebody else, and maybe Bruce can find somebody else, whoever that may be. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I did enjoy this issue overall. Not like as good as some of the other stuff I read Zdarsky do, but I gotta kind of like temper my expectations. I can't expect everything to be a 10 out of 10 right out the gate, but this is a good start. Like I said, I like some of the nods to the Burton stuff with the museum. I like the fact that it did something kind of unexpected with what they did with Penguin, and really kind of adding the stakes to the story is what happened with Tim. So I think this is a strong start. I like how it's kind of dealing with a lot of the internal struggles of Bruce Wayne and Batman, like, because he's been committed so much time to just being Batman lately. It's like, where is Bruce Wayne anymore? What is life like without all that money that he used to have? I mean, granted, it's not like, I mean, he still has some money, but for whatever reason, like, they didn't really lean into that too heavily. But now that he's not like as rich as he used to be, he's more just kind of Batman all the time. And hopefully this arc will kind of get more into him being Bruce Wayne a bit. I kind of miss him being the super rich billionaire, has all the cool technology, and now it's like, why can't he have that again? I mean, that's kind of one of the things that made him really cool. You know what I mean? But still, overall, I think the issue was pretty fine. I also liked Batman and Robin working together, and when the shit hit the fan, he kind of just dropped everything, and his main concern was protecting Tim, and he refers to him as son. So there's some good stuff in here. I like seeing Batman and like Tim's Robin working side by side together. I think it's refreshing after a while, because Batman's been kind of solo for a while, and you don't really see him working with Robin as much as I'd like. Yes, I'd still want him to be working with the other Robin, Damian, but obviously for whatever reason they're kind of pushing those two apart, and then they're going to have to come into conflict in that upcoming Batman versus Robin book. But I think there's still some good stuff here. Also, I do hope Tim gets a new code name at some point. He's been Robin for so long, and it's like, why can't he get a new cool name? So yeah, there's that. All right, well, those are my quick thoughts on it. Pretty decent start to the Zdarsky run. Not blown away by it by any means, but I think it is, you know, a good start in general. Just not like as good as I hoped it would be, given the hype behind it, because it is Chip Zdarsky. But like I said, I got to temper my expectations. I can't expect everything to be a 10 out of 10 right out the gate. So, and also the whole failsafe thing, that kind of leaves me a little bit questioning why this wasn't enacted before, because given Batman's history, he's been blamed for murder a few times, unless this is something he kind of made after like Alfred died and something he did more recently. So we'll see how it all turns out. We'll see what happens with Tim. I'm sure he's going to be fine, given the fact that, you know, Dark Crisis is coming up and Tim's got his own solo thing. See, that's the issue with DC right now, having like this big event, and now you have all these other books going on concurrently, like, oh, the Justice League is dead, but we still got this book going on here. I almost wish they would have had like Dark Crisis be like, maybe the other books kind of take some time off and then just focus on this big, huge, like line-changing event per se, and then you would have really felt the impact and stakes of everything. But as it stands, you just don't. So yeah, kind of a lot of thoughts from my end, but that's just what happens when I start talking comics. All right, well, that's all I got to say about this particular issue. If you have any thoughts on it, let me know in the comments section down below. Are you excited to see what Zdarsky is going to bring to the Batman title? I am excited. I really liked what he did with that Red Hood storyline in Batman Urban Legends. I thought that was really quite good and the strongest thing in that entire book. So I'm hoping that he really brings that same level of quality to the Batman title long term. And I'm also excited because Ram V is going to be doing Detective Comics now too. So two very talented writers working on the main Batman books with some good artists on hand. This is a good sign. This is a very good sign. So anyways, if you have any thoughts on it, let me know in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit that bell for notifications. I got 2 more comic book videos coming out hopefully today. There's the final issue of Joker with a video on Joker number 15 and DC versus Vampires number 7. So look forward to that stuff. All right, well, that's all I got to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.